Hi, good morning. My name is Darilyn Smart, and I'm the owner of Smart Foods Caribbean Limited based in Tobago. And Anola asked me to make a boast in God, and this is my boast. It starts off at the point of Matthew chapter 4 and verse 4, when this is the account of Jesus being led into the wilderness to be tempted. And verse 4 in Matthew chapter 4 says, and he answered and said, that is Jesus answering and saying to the devil, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. Now, there was a season in my life where there was no bread and no word. Right? You know how the Bible here says that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word. Well, I had no bread and I had no word. And as a business owner, we experienced what felt like a closed heaven for a long period in our lives. Nothing was opening up to us. It seemed like for some reason we had lost access. Friends and family around us was very concerned. Some felt that we sinned. A couple of them felt that, we insulted God in some way and that he was punishing us. I felt the pity of men, and it really did not feel good. We had some believers and other persons who we will say are non-believers make recommendations about what are some of the things that we should be doing to get ourselves out of this rut. Some of it seemed normal in today's culture, yet we knew that it wasn't the way that God wanted us to go. Now, even though we felt as though that there was no word in our life, whatever word we had in us over the years, we held on to that with even more intensity. So though it felt as though we wasn't hearing what God was saying, we knew in our heart what was the mindset and the value systems of God, and we stood on that. So, for example, let me give some examples of some of the things that we were told or we were recommended to do. We were recommended to falsify our income and expenditure statements to make them look good so that we can have access to funding. We even got the recommendation, to go and beg THA rep or a few reps they gave us, so that they can give us favor. We went to the bank once to seek some funding for an order, and it was rejected. So, friends say, go get a job letter. That's so easy. If it is that they say that your qualifying income have to be X, just ask somebody for a job letter. You don't have a friend who can give you a job letter, to help you qualify for the loan. And these things we soon realized was a normal practice in everyday life. But we made a decision to stand on the word of God and to stand on God himself, not to compromise. Now, in seasons where there is no bread, standing on God is a very difficult decision, even more so when you have children to feed. So what we decided to do, and I say decided because it's a choice, we made a choice. This was our decision. We made a choice to do exactly what Matthew chapter 4 verse 4 prescribes, that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. So we took this, what people will say, very foolish position, and you hungry, your children hungry, and you decide to go in the word, to eat the word. It may sound very foolish and stupid and irresponsible. But as I said earlier, we made a decision that we would follow the word of God. So we decided that we will eat the word of God and build our faith. Not an easy thing to do on an unsatisfied stomach, but we persevered. The word of God quickly became food, and the more we ate, the more bread came. God has been our source since that day. Why tell you this account and not another? Many of us are facing the restrictions to bread at this point in time. Some of us are really concerned about tomorrow, about next week, about next month. I am here today to make a boast in God, that if he can do it for me, he can do it for you. Make God your source. Not your job or lack of one, not your business, not your government, not your family. God. Make God your source. I had to say, God is my source every day for 6 months, so that my mind, my soul, my emotions, and my will could agree and believe it. I said it every single day, multiple times a day, that God is my source. God is my source. God is my source. With God as your source, He will direct you. He will supply. He also will use men to bless you. God is your source. It is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. God is our source. I'm not saying this today from a position of head knowledge and just reading the word and saying it to you. I am saying this today to encourage you from somebody who has lived it, who have walked it, who have experienced it, that God is our source. God is our source. I realized there was a day, and I will leave you with this story of my life. I'm not talking about anybody else. This is my experience with God. We were on the bed a day. We were hungry because we just ate, but what we ate was not enough. So we were still hungry. And I sat there and I said, God, there must be another way to this. God, you are my source. You are my source. You are my source. So I just sitting there quietly having this conversation with God. And the phone rang. Hey, Daryl, you're home? I say, yes, I'm home. Well, I'm outside. So I say, okay. So I turned to my husband and said, so-and-so outside. So we went and we opened the door. When we opened the door, they walked in with some grocery bags. So I said, what going on? What going on? Well, we were coming down to the bus line by here and he said we better have not walk empty-handed. So we went in the grocery and said, let's pick up 2 things to bring down for you. And we just end up saying that we make a grocery. I said, a grocery? Yeah. So they brought the things inside and we said, okay, thank you very much. And that's another thing that I quickly had to learn, how to give gratitude and how to receive. And they said, no, that's not all. And they went out and brought in some more. They made grocery in a way that I would have never made grocery for myself. And after they left, well, while they were there and we were talking, my husband quickly went to the kitchen and he made some stuff and we all ate and gave God thanks. And after God says, he says, Darilyn, I will prove to you that I am your source. I am your source. And from that moment till this present day, I have lived, I have experienced, I have been joyful of even relinquishing all responsibility to God because He is my source. So I just want to encourage you today that God is your source and that we should not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. May grace and peace be multiplied to you exponentially. Blessings.